Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I'm checking my volumes, which Mr. B hates for me to do. Just forgot to do it. Right here, the IPO market is coming. Stripe, CoreWeave, SpaceX, Databricks, Starlink. This was a tweet I saw yesterday, and it's a reminder. Link to my sponsor does have Stripe on the platform, and there's not just one, but there's a lot of people that think that the IPO market is about to heat up. In fact, Link2 is Link2 themselves is one of the companies that's planning to go IPO. Okay, I wanted to show you this. Everybody knows one of my sponsors, iTrustCapital. Brad Combs from Digital Perspectives summarized this better than I could, so I wanted to just play you what he said. So anybody out there that I have 2 iTrustCapital accounts, but if you have one, listen to this.
Now let's talk about this piece of information, and God bless iTrustCapital. I don't know if the rest of you saw this, but in response to a recent email from Fortress Trust, we encourage all clients to click the link below for important updates, detailed information. Now, let me give you the long and short here. iTrustCapital is the best home for IRAs in the planet, bar none. And they use Fortress Trust for their custody for quite some time. Now, with that being said, they have sent out a letter saying that they were going to switch their custody to Fortis Trust, and it was going to give them some better service agreement, arrangement, or what have you, provide a better relationship on the back end from that vendor that provides their custody service. Now, the problem is Fortress Trust has come out and basically said, oh, okay, we'll transfer the assets for you, but we're going to charge each one of your customers $125 transfer fee to do this. Now, here's where we come in here, because that's where I saw this, and I said to myself, whoa, is Fortress Trust, which is just merely a vendor of iTrust because they chose them as a custodian, now trying to extort money from iTrust and their clients by demanding that they're going to charge them $125 for a transfer fee? What in the hell is that? And then it dawned on me. I said, wait a minute. I remember Ripple is actually an investor in Fortress Trust. They were going to acquire it one time and backed out, but they are an investor. And I wonder if they happen to be aware of what Fortress Trust are doing right now. Now, let me put this to bed. iTrustCapital has said, if Fortress Trust goes forward with this and tries to put this bully move in place, which is an extortion move in my eyes, if they do that, iTrust said they're going to make their customers whole and they will cover it. So that's amazing. And that just shows you the class and the integrity of iTrust.
Yep, good point. Check this out. This came out of nowhere. This is Cointelegraph. Is XRP price quietly setting up for a rally towards $1? Now, we're not going to go through their whole thing. I just want to point out a couple of things. One, these guys are like CoinDesk. They have not been favorable to Ripple over the years, or to XRP, and this is coming out of nowhere. But I want to draw your attention down to this one. Monthly chart. Where'd it go? Where did it go? It disappeared. There it is. Monthly chart shows symmetrical triangle pattern, potential upside target of 420 or higher if upper trend line breaks. The nearest potential resistance is at the 23 to 38 cents fib range, I guess. Or is that even cents? I don't know anything about this fib. Here it is. Or the 71 cent to 105. So this is a totally different thing. So it shows what I know about charts, which is nothing. Coinciding with this. Then there's this. The U.S. election. This is why I'm getting kind of exciting. There's a lot of negativity out there over the market itself and all of that. But I've been buying the XRP dips myself for a lot of reasons. But one of them being this: the elections are coming, and I learned this in college. I majored in finance. I remember taking a class, and I've told this story here. I remember taking a class where the professor was literally telling us, and I, as a young person, I was like, I had no idea, but they were telling us that all of these politicians on both sides of the aisle, as they lead up to an election cycle, they use all the tools available to juice the economy so that it gives the appearance of a great economy as people go to the polls. And I remember being young and thinking, man, that is so manipulative. That's how bad it is. And I had no idea that by age 50, I would realize, oh no, it's so much worse. And you'll see part of that in this video. But the U.S. elections are coming, and markets typically get intense around the elections. Are you prepared? And he's showing you what happened in the green is 2020, 2021, and this is Bitcoin, I guess. And the blue is 2016, 2017. You can see what happened. And here we are in the white, and he's illustrating we're right there. Then you got this, Bitcoin's down 7% in September, but September's traditionally been one of the worst. I think it's September and February, the worst Bitcoin months, hence the worst crypto months. Staying on trend line with historical averages, when in doubt, zoom out, okay? And then Lark Davis has been putting out some good stuff lately, even though he's a Bitcoin maxi, he's not a dumb guy. And he says Q4 is just around the corner. No one is bullish enough. Q4 is typically when things get more green. So a lot of patterns there. Then Metal Lawman breaking. Kamala Harris has just posted her policy positions on her website. There is no mention of digital assets, crypto, or blockchain technology anywhere. So now we know. Yes, we know. I actually went to it. This is probably the last time in my life that I will ever be at KamalaHarris.com. But all of her platform does not involve crypto in any form or fashion. And Eleanor Terrett, here's a further confirmation. Remember, Chuck Schumer had acted like he was going to do something pro-crypto. We know he doesn't. The truth is not his friend. He sent a letter to his Senate colleagues where he mentioned priorities for passing bipartisan legislation in the remaining months of Congress. Cryptocurrency legislation was not mentioned, but artificial intelligence was. This despite his adamance on the Crypto for Harris town hall that crypto legislation was going to be a pressing priority. Mike Dudas called it out, called it the right way. The great democratic crypto reset of 2024 going tremendously well. Imagine Senator Warren trying to say we're spreading misinformation and implying she wants fair crypto regulations when she literally called for an anti-crypto army. Nobody is more disingenuous than she is. This is the letter that she sent out to her mailing list. It's happening now that we're in a general election here in Massachusetts. We just discovered that conservative crypto-funded groups are starting to place six-figure ad buys against me, spreading misinformation to voters to prop up my Republican opponent. Some of the funders behind those ads are crypto investors like the Winklevoss brothers. Yes, those guys from the social network, because they're upset that I've called for fair regulations around the industry that protect working people. Once again, she's a liar. That is not what she's done. What she has done is run Operation Choke Point 2.0, and she's in charge of Gary Gensler and the bad guys in the White House who have intentionally been, and at the Federal Reserve, and they've intentionally been trying to shut down anything crypto related. Not pass fair regulations. That's not what she's been trying to do. Check this out. You need to go ahead and know it, folks. Bernstein, $725 billion assets under management, predicts Bitcoin could skyrocket to 90,000 if Donald Trump wins the election this year. You're all on notice. Now, this is Peter Schiff. Now, Peter Schiff has been, I don't even think I have to play, I'll play a little bit of it. But this is Peter Schiff calling Bitcoin a Ponzi scheme that's going below $20,000. And then I'll make a point about Peter Schiff.
Yeah. Bitcoin is scarce.
But because, folks, I agree with most of what Peter Schiff says, and Jack Mallers acknowledged he agrees with most of what Peter Schiff says. But I can promise you I have a different take on this than Jack Mallers.
In the sense that there's 21 million of them. But so what? It's just a string of numbers. There's nothing to look at. You know, there's nothing that it does that's any different than all the other strings of numbers of all the other cryptocurrencies. In fact, there's 22.1 quadrillion Satoshis. I mean, there's enough Satoshis for everybody to have hundreds of thousands of them. You can't do anything more with a Bitcoin than you can with a Satoshi, which is nothing. And I never said that something has to be tangible to have value. Intangible assets, software is valuable, music, all kinds of things that you can't physically touch have value because of the things that they can do and the benefits that I derive from using them. But that is not true about Bitcoin. The only benefit people hope to derive from Bitcoin is getting rich when it goes to the moon.
Now, let me float you. This is my theory on Peter Schiff. I don't believe that Peter Schiff cares one way or another about the Bitcoin debate. I think that Peter Schiff purely uses the Bitcoin thing. I think he likes Bitcoin being a thing because I think that he's found that he can tweak social media by being the one voice of anti-Bitcoin so that he can get a lot of views and sell gold. And the reason I think that is what I dropped underneath. He was posting this debate that he had with Jack Mallers. And I said, Peter, I'm curious. You've been debating all these Bitcoin maxis for years, but you never use the most obvious evidence in existence. It's on video. It's them telling you basically that the government knows who the 4 Satoshis are, which would implode the whole thing. I don't think he actually wants to, in any way, really debate. I mean, if he wanted to just gut these guys, he would show this video. Jack Mallers can't say anything about this because my theory has always been that not necessarily Jack Mallers, but all the key Bitcoin maxis already had this information. I think they all can't go anywhere near it. I think they all already knew who Satoshi was because I think half of them are government operatives, to be honest. So then there's that, okay? Now, let's look at this because words mean things, folks. Trust me, words mean things. And I have been on this planet for 50 years. I don't think I've ever heard the word skullduggery. And if I have, it's been years. But then I've heard it twice in 24 hours. The first place I saw it is this. Yesterday, was it yesterday? 2 days ago, Trump put this out, cease and desist. I, together with many attorneys and legal scholars, am watching the sanctity of the 2024 presidential election very closely because I know better than most the rampant cheating and skullduggery that has taken place by the Democrats in the 2020 presidential election. Now, when I hear that word and then 24 hours later, he's basically warning all these Democrats, and he says, please be aware that this legal, he's going to come for them if they try to cheat in this election. And he says, be aware the legal exposure extends to lawyers, political operatives, donors, illegal voters, and corrupt election officials. Well, this right here, when I hear a word like that and then I hear it again in 24 hours, it makes me wonder if it's messaging that's being coordinated. Because when you hear what this is it Brett Weinstein? I think that's what his name is. He was on with Joe Rogan. And let's remember, how did they win the 2020 election? Or I'll put that in quotes. How did they, quote, win the 2020 election? Mail-in ballots. Remember they shut down the polls in the middle of the night? And why did they have all the mail-in ballots? It was because of this thing called COVID. Yeah, some pretty dark places. We're going to talk about those dark places in DAIXRP.com. Before I go, I want to tell you, this really pisses me off. And that's part of the reason I went and I worked a deal with the wellness company where you can get 10% off. I bought myself one of those medical emergency kits that contains ivermectin. The link to that and I think the code's DAI, and it's in the link. It's in the description of this video, below the video. So go in there and you can go, and that's what I got is the medical emergency kit. And they also have doctors you can talk to and all. You can schedule appointments and all kinds of stuff. So go check that out. But in DAIXRP.com, I'm going to show you those dark places that he's pointing to, because I think he knows full well it's very dark. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Away we go.